Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate Mr. Joyce's comments, but I do want to talk about the executive order which the president issued, which is unconstitutional, illegal, and is unserious. And I just would refer everyone to Article 1, Section 4 of the United States Constitution. The times, places, and manner of holding elections for senators and representatives shall be prescribed in each state by the legislature thereof, but the Congress may at any time by law make or alter such regulations. It's pretty clear. The President of the United States has no role to play. Constitution says it. And so an executive order from a president, which purports to take on responsibilities, duties, and powers that the Constitution doesn't give them, is unserious. And actually, the executive order is unserious for so many other reasons. It calls on Department of Homeland Security to use one database. It calls on the United States Postal Service to use another database which doesn't even exist. The truth is that we need, in this moment, not to rely on an executive order, not to wait for someone to do an analysis of an executive order, which has as much force of law as my 6-year-old grandson, Gabriel, who might write an executive order and pass it off about elections because he doesn't have the power to do it. The truth is, President Trump has demonized mail-in voting for reasons that are entirely unclear. In fact, as people have said, he chose to utilize that himself, even though he was in Florida during early voting for much of the time early voting was going on. And for people who would say, well, the president can't go to a polling place, you know, security issues, et cetera. But somehow he did manage to find time to go to a UFC mixed martial arts championship bout. Apparently you can't mail that in, so you actually have to attend. But the truth is, it's unserious, but it's more than it's darker than that. In that this is an attempt. By the way, he's done no research. He doesn't even know how many people or Republicans vote by mail versus Democrats. He's just gone off on trying to make sure he cast aspersions on a form of voting because he has the emotional maturity of a 5-year-old and simply cannot get to the point where he can acknowledge he lost the 2020 election. Many of us have been involved in politics, have lost elections. We've had friends lose elections. You accept the fact that that happens. And the truth is, he simply can't accept it. So he's taken my friends across the aisle party and taking you down a road where you don't even know where it will lead you to. The fact is, there's many rural voters in states like California and Oregon and Washington and
Mr.
Colorado
Chairman, the gentleman's
and
out of order.
Arizona.
Mr. Chairman, the gentleman's out of order.
So,
That's on the floor.
well, yeah. I'm happy to finish without, suggesting anything about the president's mental state. I will say this. What we really ought to be worried about is 90 million Americans did not vote in the last presidential election who are voting age eligible, U.S. citizens. If we care deeply about putting truth behind the words of the people, by the people, for the people, we would be desperately working to make sure every single American voted, whether by mail or by early vote or by in-person. The point isn't the manner in which you cast your vote. The point is to make sure you're able to cast your vote. I strongly support the amendment, urge my colleagues to vote in the affirmative. I yield back my time.
Thank you, gentlemen.